Okay, so item 8, Councillor McGowan.
Thank you. I'm having the same difficulties with that mute button. It seems to be sticking tonight. No, listen, just it's a good news story. Looking through item 8, I just want to welcome the job creation figures, and I want to commend Stephen and his team for what was a well delivered programme. It just goes to show that when councils are given a task and given some funding from DFE, that we can get on and go out there and have the impact. Again, it reinforces the need for a functioning assembly, because we're ready. I think, and Kevin and Stephen and the team would be ready to continue on and get stuck on there. But again, budgets haven't really been possibly agreed. So it's well done to the team. I think it's an indication of what local economic development can be if funded correctly. So I look forward to the Assembly up and running, and this council delivering an even bigger programme next time round with the Department for Economy. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor McGowan. Item 9, anybody want to come on that? No. Item 10. Go ahead, Alderman Husk.
Thank you, Chair. The nighttime economy obviously related to our opening presentation, and actually a very interesting report. And the need to find out and explore what other people are doing. And I wonder, are our officers aware of, I know some members should be aware of, a major conference in Manchester on the 8th and 9th of February on the nighttime economy. And I've looked through that programme, and some of the speakers of that are really international. You're talking about the Nightmare from New York. You're talking about folk from Australia. You're talking about folk from the major cities in the United Kingdom, and their issues on the nighttime economy. I would be surprised that officers are not aware of it. I'd be even more surprised if they didn't seek to ensure an attendance from officers, at least, at that major conference. It's in Manchester. It's extremely well costed. I think it's 50 quid covers the 2 days, 2 full days in Manchester. And I'd be surprised that officers aren't taking the opportunity to engage with others who are looking at the same issues as we are in this city and district. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Alderman Hussey. Councillor Niels.
And just on that point, Alderman Hussey, I had brought that up at the member development group, that some of these events were happening, but they were completely out of our reach to attend. So just on that report, thank you. Yeah, definitely needed. Derry's a ghost town and the whole council area is a ghost town at night. So just a few wee things from that, if you don't mind, I have a few wee questions. The first question would be, it says on it, if it was approved by members as a way forward, then it needs to be considered as part of the rates process. Is there any idea of a rough cost to that? As we all know that given the current financial situation that we're in, with cuts in the rate support grant, it's a struggle to find where that money could come from. And if it can't come from there, then we need to look at where else it could come from. So in the meantime, maybe we could look at a couple of short-term solutions to this. If potentially some of the local groups who would consider opening at night could come together under the council officers to discuss the ways forward if what is open at night is promoted on the council Facebook and social medias. And if there is, sorry, let me see what else wrote here. Yep, so just another wee question was on where else could we tie this money into so that it isn't coming into the rates process? Say, for example, there was obviously the Peace Plus, there was a concept stage for that. Was that not have been considered to be tied into something there, or the city deal? Or I'm just trying to wonder, is there any other areas where this money can come from that we're not putting pressure on the rates?
Thank you, Councillor Niels. Stephen?
Yeah, happy to come in those. The conference will definitely look at. Well, I'm not saying that it's not something that I have been aware of, but we'll look at that and whether we can attend or not. In terms of budget, I would be loath to put a figure on. The first budget would be for that consultancy report to pull together. I mean, what we've got here, I have to say, is a lot more than what we would normally do as officers. It's a really good piece of work from the officer who did it, and so there's a good base on it. So I'd be reluctant to put a figure on it, but the kind of resources, the initial would be that one-off resource for a consultant to pull together the sector and build on this piece of work. And then there's the ongoing, what the actions are from there. And that's really where the rates money would kind of kick in. I've tried to reach out to set up a meeting with DFC to see is there any possibility of jointly doing something on the night count colony on that consultancy piece. So it might be less of an ask to council that we can take that first step. So that's kind of where we are now. I'll come back to members. If members are content with this as a direction travel, then I'll keep working at that to try and get that at least that first step. And definitely would be very open to look at local groups to promote and work with them to see how we can push the message of what is open, what can be open and what can be done. So if there's groups that you're thinking of, we're happy to make contact with them.
Thanks, Stephen. No, there's no groups in particular. It's just that there's nowhere that you can see what's open on what nights. I remember just pre-COVID, there was a little consortium of cafes that were open at night and they were taking turns. So something like that, something that can be created organically without costing a lot of money, but it can be a wee bit of council officer time put into it, without stretching into the rates process. Do you know, like I'm in a couple of different consortiums for like heritage and things like that, and that's all came together, and see the strength in numbers in those situations is unbelievable. And if we can promote those in social media, then that'd be great.
Thanks, Councillor News. Thanks, Stephen. Item 11, update on response to Dave e-tourism strategy consultation. Councillor Hutton.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a few wee comments in relation to the report. And I think that at this stage we can all agree that visitor numbers have risen since COVID, despite the limited resources that we had. So in light of this, it is really important that Council and Visit Derry develop the tourism offer that is there. We also welcome the reference made and the response in relation to the need for the cross-border collaboration, but this needs to be reinforced as well. In particular, the need for the regional marketing campaign supported by both governments in order to promote the full Northwest region. I just wanted to make a comment as well in relation to the political tourism here in the district. And I think promotion in and around that is very minimal and does have a detrimental impact on the visiting numbers coming into Derry, West Belfast and even other areas that are affected by conflict. So at the minute within the city there's a museum being built as we speak, and that's the Peace Process Museum up at the Gas Yard Centre. We also have the existing Museum of Free Derry. So I think that these provide opportunities for an uplift and the promotion of this particular sector. Finally, Tourism NI need to allocate more specific resources to Visit Derry to ensure that the council area is properly promoted in line with the need for Invest NI to adopt a similar sub-regional approach. So the bottom line really being that we need better tourism deal for Derry and Strabane. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Hutton.
Just on the back of that, the issue of Invest NI, I'm sure most will have noticed that the international team of Invest NI were in the city, I think it was last week for a couple of days. There are teams from that are working throughout the world. I wonder at some stage, I know that the council's investment manager, I think was involved in that, Russell Young. Would it be possible at some stage to have an evaluation of that visit, that members could be given an update as to how officers felt that Invest NI were reacting to coming to our area?
Not sure about an evaluation report, but I think that certainly we can provide an update to this committee around just the conference programme, council officer involvement and our wider stakeholders. Just an initial comment around it. I think it was really, really welcome. The teams that they brought all their teams from right across the world who are out there selling Northern Ireland. They stayed in the city for nearly three full days. They overnighted for 2. We think as a council, it's something we've been trying to encourage Invest NI to do, to get a real feel for the place, to actually get to understand the ecosystem, the businesses, what we're selling, and to try to align. I think that they were very, very strong in terms of the wider Northwest proposition, which was welcome. So yeah, we'd certainly speak to colleagues within Invest NI and around just an information paper just around the actual programme. It did involve a number of local FDIs and other businesses and the education sector, the local Chamber of Commerce, etc. So yeah, I mean, it was from our perspective, it was a welcome visit and a welcome event.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Alderman Hussey. Moving on to item 12. Anyone? Item 13. Okay, so maybe this time we can move into confidential business.